charts,
tests,
data,
exams.
analysis.
Are you sure you're ready?
Are you sure? Give me a nod.
Give me a nod. Let me see your nod. Educ.
This is your tool.
This is your test.
This
It's
is
Educ.
May the tools be in your favor. This is the task 1. Watch this video.
For our starter, we interviewed some teachers.
And we ask them 2 questions. Do they use electronic gradebooks? And do they use online or computer-based tests?
For their students.
Do you use parang mga electronic gradebook for recording grades?
Electronic grade
Like,
files, Excel files,
Excel files lang.
for every class.
Okay, gumagamit ako ng Excel, but just for the purpose of, para lang convenient yung pag-compute tsaka pag-record ng grades, but I don't really use it to create graphs or to analyze the grades in another level. Talagang for recording purposes and computing purposes lang.
So, have you tried using like computer-based or online testing for your students?
Hindi pa.
Why not?
Kasi very custom made kasi yung topics for my class. Wala pa na nakakita na very particular na pwede.
Okay, so yun lang po.
yay!
No, I have not tried that kasi there is no need. There is no need for that kind of testing. Maybe in the future, if I see some opportunities to do that, maybe we can use that in my class. But at the moment, we are not using it.
Thank you, Teach.
Ayan, nakita natin yung mga interview namin sa ating mga prof dito sa Educ. Nakita natin na iba gumagamit ng Excel. Yung iba naman, walang ginagamit. Kaya, pero, alam niyo ba, hindi porket hindi sila gumagamit ng online o ng mga electronic gradebooks o ng mga online testing sa kanilang mga estudyante, ay hindi na sila magaling na teacher. Kasi syempre, iba't-iba tayo ng method na ginagawa. Iba't-iba din yung exposure natin sa technology. Iba't-iba din tayo ng yung mga pinanggalingan. Kaya syempre, hindi natin sabihin na, teacher, hindi ka na magaling teacher. Kasi hindi ka marunong ng mga electronic gradebooks, hindi ka marunong ng online testing para sa students mo. Hindi ganoon. Syempre, i-weigh natin kung ano ba yung tingin natin na mas efficient para sa atin. Pero alam niyo ba na
Hindi man natin nakita sa video, pero in-interview na namin si Dr. Richo, dati nating mahusek. Tapos ang sabi niya, ang gusto ng project ng mga Educ 190 students ay turuan sa lahat silang mga hindi exposed, siya hindi marunong masyado sa mga data tools sa internet, na gumamit nga nun. Kasi wala silang time, siya syempre, maganda rin kung marunong sila.
kaya magandang project na yun para sa ating mga Educ 190 students, diba?
So yeah, what we're going to discuss today is data collection and analysis tools. But what exactly do we mean when we say data collection and analysis? Well, for starters, data means basic information like maybe the student's name, contact details, and anything about their background. Or they could be like their test scores or their grades and stuff like that. And when you collect data, you're basically just getting those information and putting them on record. But when you analyze it, it's something different. You're looking at all this information and then you're seeing how you can use them to improve your teaching. Like maybe you notice that, all the answers to this question, they're all wrong. They all answered it wrong. And then so you see that you can see through the tools that you need to improve something. with your test or with your teaching in general. So today, we'll be aiding you in looking for all those wonderful tools for data collection and analysis. And we're going to start now. Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Give me a nod. Give me a nod.
Have you heard about Microsoft Excel? Have you tried using Excel? LibreCalc is an alternative for Microsoft Excel. Calc is an easy-to-learn spreadsheet program. Teachers will appreciate the range of available functions in Calc. Based from the interview, most of the teachers use this kind of spreadsheet in computing grades. There is the intelligent sum button. When you click this function, you can immediately get the sum of your data. Also, there are different styles and direct formatting that makes it easy to apply flexible cell formatting options like templates, background, borders, and much more. We can also make our own graphs with just a few clicks, so watch this.
I'm going to show you how to make a graph, and what I'd like you to do is make exactly the same graph that I make. You can do this in Excel or LibreOffice. So we have some nutrition facts here for Lay's BLT chips, and you'll see that one serving, which is 28 grams, is about 15 chips, and it has 160 calories. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to go here into LibreOffice, and what we're going to do is we're going to have the number of chips and then the number of calories. So chips over here, calories over here. So 15 chips we saw had 160 calories. And so now what we can do is we're going to just make a graph of this. So 30 chips, 45 chips, and let's go 60 and 75. So I'm just going up by the number. So 15, I'm adding 15 every time. Now here, I'm adding 160 every time. And what we're going to do, I'll show you a way to do this more quickly. So what I can do is I can say equals, this cell equals this cell above it plus 160, because we do that. And then what I can actually do, I can do that again, equals that cell plus 160. Or if I'm really lazy, what I can actually do is I can choose that cell, I can just drag by that box, and it'll fill in all of those. So now I have 15 chips, 160 calories, 30 chips, 320, and so on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a graph of this. So to insert the graph, we select everything, including the two labels, and we go into Insert and Chart. And this will be almost exactly the same in Microsoft Excel if you're doing it on an Excel computer. The chart type is an XY graph, and we'll choose this points and lines. Now next what we do, data range, you don't need to change anything, so you hit next again. Data series, you don't need to change anything, but here in the chart elements we're going to change some things. We're going to turn off the legend, we don't need the legend. The title is going to be Calories in Lay's Chips. The subtitle, we don't need a subtitle. And then the x-axis, that's the axis that runs along the bottom this way. That is, in our graph here, the number of chips. And the number of calories is on the y-axis. And I'm going to display both of the grids. You'll see that in a minute. So now I hit finish. And now here's the graph that it's made for me. I'm just going to drag it all the way so it's all in the screen here for you to see.
So, as you said, we'll also be teaching you all about tools you can use that can help you record your students' grades. And that is basically what the first tool is for. Here, we have an electronic gradebook, LearnBoost. LearnBoost is a free online gradebook for teachers that can also be used for making lesson plans, for recording attendance, and for setting your school calendar.
Completely free for teachers and schools, LearnBoost provides fully integrated gradebook, attendance, lesson plan, reporting, and calendar functionality. Using the latest technologies, LearnBoost has built a classroom management platform unmatched by anything else on the market. The intuitive interface is a breeze to pick up and a pleasure to use on a daily basis from anywhere you have internet. In the Administration tab, you can set up a class in seconds, then share grades on assignments, class calendars, and attendance records with parents and students to keep everyone on the same page. The Gradebook tab automatically calculates weighted or unweighted averages, allows for custom grading scales, and is printable or exportable to your desktop. The Attendance tab allows you to view attendance in seating chart or list views, and you can get a quick summary of each student's attendance record at a glance just by clicking their name. The Lesson Plan tab provides a modular interface for the creation of multimedia lesson plans. Attach files and associate Common Core or local learning standards with the click of a mouse. Then, head up to the top and share your plans with your colleagues or personal learning networks right from LearnBoost. By clicking the Reporting tab, you can see overviews and detailed data regarding student progress. Beautiful and helpful graphs and visuals are automatically updated with data from your gradebook to help you plan and assess throughout the school year. View class progress or head to the Student View to see reports for each student. You can also add comments and share them with parents and students to keep everyone in the loop. The Tasks and Calendar features help you stay organized. Create a to-do list in seconds and get reminders of daily events. Assignments and lesson plans automatically sync with your calendar, and you can easily integrate your Google Calendars as well. What's more, with a school account, administrators can manage users, set school-wide defaults, and import local learning standards. Plus, all of LearnBoost's features integrate seamlessly with Google Apps to make using your gradebook even easier. So, sign up for a free account today.
So now that you've learned about where you can put in the grades, it's time to find out what are the tools you can use for the actual basis of the grades, the test.
Well, there are two types of tests in the computer that you can use when you're tired of the old pencil and paper tests. First, there's what we call computer-based testing systems. And second is the online testing system. The computer-based tests, this enables you to make the test online and offline. And there's software like iTest that can help you make the test offline. And then there are online generators of tests also that can help you make computer-based tests like Easy Test Maker. And so with these computer-based tests, you can administer the test. You can have the choice to make it uploaded online or it's like already inside the computer.
So once you've opened iTest, just click New and then type the name of your test, your test database. And then you can save it. Here you can make the questions. See his typing the names of the questions. Okay, so after you type the name of the questions, you can make flags or categories for the questions to better classify the topics that will be under your test. After that's done, you can write the questions. So you choose the flag for the test and then you write the question. Here, his question is, which of the following was Morwen also called? That's the question. And you can format it. You can make a font for it. You change fonts and font size and color. And afterwards, you can put the choices. And of course, you'll see later that after you After the choices are after you're done putting the choices, you have to choose which one is the correct one. Okay, so after that, you basically do the same with the other question titles. You put the question, you can change font style, font color, font size, and then you put the choices. To start the testing, click Server Mode, and then click Advanced, which allows you to put all your flags to the side. So after that, you could name your test, and you could put things like the passing rate and the maximum number of items you want in your test. And then you click Start Server, and it will ask you to print your work. You do have to print it before the students can take the test.
Oops, let's stop for a while. How are you? Okay. I think you need a break. So why don't you just go out for a while and maybe get some food, go wherever, breathe some fresh air, but don't forget to play me again when you come back. So right now, pause, and remember, play me again. But let's focus now on online tests, particularly the ones that give you instant feedback. There are sites like eQuizzer and Assessment Focus that can help teachers make tests for their students and help the teachers see the results. And these results can also be shown to students. And there's also one very handy tool on Google, which maybe you're familiar with, called Google Forms, that you can also use to make tests that the students and you yourself, the teacher, can see the results instantly, and they can see like what the answers are and you can see what their grades are. So yeah, let's see how exactly we will use Google Forms to do that.
So to create a form, click on the red Create button and then choose Form. When you first create a form, you're given an option to give it a title and select a theme. So I'm going to go ahead and call this Quiz 1 and I'll just choose the default theme. Although there are a lot of really neat looking themes, Google Forms was just updated recently, so there are a lot more visual styles that are available to us today than there were in the past. So I'll choose default and click OK. Once you have created your form, you can add a description for your form. So the title is Quiz 1, and I'm going to say, please answer the following questions. And then, as an educator, the first question that I would ask on my form would be the first name. So I can go ahead and have first name for the question title for the first one. And then, for each question, you choose the type of question you're asking. In this case, I'll be asking a text question, where I just give one line of text so they can type in their answer. And I do want them to be required to answer the question, so I'll click on Required Question. That means that the person filling out the form must answer this question before submitting it. And then I'll click Done. So there's my first question. First name, and there's a blank. I'm going to go ahead and add one more, and I'm going to add another text question and make this last name. And make sure I mark this Required Question and click Done. Now, since I'm making a quiz, I may want to give the option to have the student identify him or herself by the class they're in. So I'm going to go ahead and add an option for them to select their teacher. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Choose from a List. This way it gives them all the possible answers in a drop-down list. And I'm going to type in Homeroom Teacher. And then I'm going to, this is already Choose from a List, and I'm going to give a couple options. If you leave the first option blank, that will make it so they have to choose one, and they won't have a homeroom teacher or whatever the option is. There will be nothing there to begin with, and they will have to make a selection of some kind. So I'll press Enter to go to the next option. I'm going to go ahead and put Mr. Bone for me, and then I'll put a couple of random names. I'll put Teacher 2, Teacher 3, and Teacher 4. And to go from each selection, I just press Enter to go to the next option. And I do want to have this as a required question, so I'll click on Required Question and click on Done. Okay, so now I want to add my first question to my quiz. These first 3 items were just identifiers, first name, last name, homeroom teacher. And now I want to add my first item, or my first question to the quiz. So I'll click on Add Item, and I'm going to make this one a multiple choice question. And I'm going to go ahead and have this, I'll say question 1, I'll put number 1. And then for help text, if you type in the help text section your question, it will be easier later because it will not show up in your spreadsheet view. It'll make it easier to read. You could always type in the question at the very beginning if you'd like, but I'm going to type in the help text. That way it will not show up the entire text of the question in my spreadsheet later with my data. So the first question I'm going to have that be, which of the following is an inner planet in our solar system? And then I can add each option one at a time, and it's a multiple choice. So that means that all the options are given at the very beginning. They can see all the options I give them, as opposed to a drop-down menu as our last question was. So I'm going to go ahead and type in, let's do Jupiter, which is not the answer. Press Enter. I'll put Mars, which is the answer. Then I'll put Saturn, and I'll put Neptune. And now I'm going to have 4 choices. I can add more than 4 if I like, or less than 4. And I do want to have it a required question, so I'll click on that box and click on Done. So I've gone ahead and added 3 multiple choice questions, as you can see here. And now I'm going to add a different type of question. So I'm going to click on the Add Item and click on the drop-down box, and I'm going to choose Paragraph Text. In this kind of question, there is a larger box that's given for the people taking your form and filling out your form to submit their answer. So I'll go ahead and just maybe ask a longer question, like, what makes Earth unique when compared to other planets? And then I could always add in the help text section how many points this is worth. I'll go ahead and just make it a 2-point question. And then the student or the person taking your form, filling out your form, will be able to answer in more than just 1 line of text. I'll make the required question and click on Done. After you've created your form, you need to choose a place where you would like all of the completed forms and all of their responses to go. So at the very top of the page, click on Choose Response Destination. And once you click there, you're given a couple of options. The first option is to have all the responses accumulate into a new spreadsheet that will be on your Drive account. Or you could also choose to have it be added to a new sheet in an existing spreadsheet. I would recommend choosing a new spreadsheet. That way every form you create has a separate spreadsheet for the responses. So if you do that, it will make a new spreadsheet that will be titled the name of your form, and then in parentheses, responses. And then click on Create. To view the responses of people that have filled out your form, you can click on the View Responses button at the top after you select the destination, or you can go back to your Drive account and you can choose where it says Quiz 1 Responses. And that will give you the spreadsheet with all of the information from people who have already filled out your form. To view the live form that you've created, that other people that are filling out your form will see, click on where it says View Live Form at the top of the screen. This will open up your form, in this case it's a quiz, in a new window, and it will show you what this form will look like to the people who are filling it out that you're sending it to. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this in as my as an example of someone. I'll put John, his first name, Doe is the last name, homeroom teacher, let's go with Mr. Bone. And then I'll answer the questions. I think it must be Mars. Third planet from the Sun, let's get one wrong on purpose. Let's click on Mercury. How many planets are there in our solar system? I'm going to go and click on, I'm still in the old age. I'll click on 9 because I think Pluto's a planet. And then I'll type that Earth has life, which makes it unique. And click on Submit. And this is the screen that you're shown after you have submitted your form. After some of your participants have filled out the form, they will automatically fill in as each person fills it out. So it also has a timestamp on the left-hand side, lets you know when exactly it happened, and then it gives you the first names, last names, homeroom teachers, and each question. You can see a summary of all of the responses by clicking on Form, and then clicking on Show Summary of Responses. This is a great way that you can analyze the data of the group that you are testing or quizzing, in this case if you're an educator, or if you just want to gather information and see what kind of relationships there are. So you can see that all the students had the same homeroom teacher, Mr. Bone. And number 1, all the students, all the participants answered Mars. So that was a good question. There was not much problem on that. Number 2, it shows that, oh no, we have some problems. Only 2 of the 5 answered Earth, and that was which one was the third planet from the Sun. So hey, that's a problem question. You can review this with your class and let them know there are problems there. Number 3, the correct answer was 8, and it looks like most of us had the right answer, but one of us did not. So we can say that, as a whole, the class did pretty well, but there was one student who did not do very well. So it's a good way to analyze your data quickly and easily after all your students have submitted their answers. To share your completed form with your participants or students, in the top right-hand corner, click on Send Form. You can either copy and paste the link to share with them, or you can click in the Send Form via email and type in the email addresses of the participants there, and then click on Send.
Hi, now let's grade our quiz. I see my quiz, the form. I'm going to go to my drive and find the matching spreadsheet. I'm going to click Insert, Script, and I'm going to search for Flubaroo or Flubberoo. There it is. I'm going to install it and close this window. Now I'm going to click on Flubaroo and click Grade Assignment. It needs authorization. I say yes and accept. It's collecting email addresses, so that's why it asks. Let's do that again. Okay, step 1. Question 1, column B, does identify the student? Column C, sure, that's 1 point. Column D, I'd like to actually not grade that one. The next column, I'd like that to be worth 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, and 1 point. Okay. And I'd like the quiz that I took to be the key, the answer key. And now a new page has opened in my spreadsheet with the kids' grades. I'd like to email the students their grades and send personalized feedback. So I'm going to click on Edit Student Feedback to add that as an option, and I'll enter the student feedback in each row for each student, and then I'll click on Email Grades and email the students their grades, and I can include a general message as well. And that's it.
So, let's sum up what we've learned so far. Gradebooks like LearnBoost can help you manage things like grades, attendance, schedules, and the like. Computer-based and online tests can help you create and administer tests without the burden of printing so much paper. But these tools could only take you so far. There are even more tools that you can use to further analyze your data so you can really improve as a teacher.
And this is where statistical packages come in. Statistical packages, these are tools that can help you answer certain very important questions, like who are the students who perform the best in my class, or what's wrong with my test? Why is it that most of my students failed in this certain test and most of my students had high scores in this other test? Why? Statistical packages will help you find out the answers to these questions with charts or graphs. And tools like statistical packages can help you do the computing without hassle. They can help you see like the frequency, like how often this high score or this low score appears. Or they can also show you what scores are most common in the class. So one such statistical package is called SOFA, or Statistics Open for All, because it's free. And this tool, I think, is one of the simpler tools out there that's statistical packages, and using this could be very handy for all of us teachers. But I think it would be best to illustrate exactly how we're going to use it.
In SOFA statistics, you can either enter data by hand or you can import it from a spreadsheet program. You might wonder why you would ever want to enter data by hand. If you've given a survey on paper or you need to enter the results of an observation that you did in the field, entering data by hand could be your best choice. To enter data by hand, click Enter Edit Data. You can then add a new data table by clicking New. Enter the name for your data table. In this case, Survey will be a reasonable name. Now you can start designing what goes into your data table. The first field is going to be the gender. So instead of var 001, type gender. That's going to be a letter, not a number. So go to the data type column and select text. The next field will be for the age. So click the empty field name and type age, then tab over and select numeric. Click outside the menu and then press tab to create another field. You don't want the height in feet and inches as separate fields, so you'll combine them into the total height in inches. Enter the field name height, which is numeric, and I got that quickly by pressing the letter N. Click outside, press tab, and now the next is the number of pairs of shoes, so the field name is shoes, and the field type is also numeric. The field for the favorite color, which we'll call color, is going to be text, so I'll select text from that field. And the last two questions are coded as numbers, so the fields campus and pets should both be numeric. Make sure you press tab to create an empty row, or your last field won't get into the table design. Finally, click Update. You'll see a message that your new table has been added to the default SOFA database. When you click OK, you can start entering your data. I'll enter a couple of rows just to show you how that works. I enter the gender for the first person, M, and use tab to move from field to field. The person's age was 23. His height was 5 foot 7 inches, so I convert that to 67 inches total. The number of pairs of shoes he had was 10. His favorite color was red. He thought the campus was very beautiful, which scored 4 points, and agreed, but not strongly, that everyone should own a pet. That was scored as a 3. When I press tab, it immediately goes to the next row. The next person was a female, who has aged 22. She was 5 foot 3 inches tall, 63 inches total. She owned 14 pairs of shoes. Her favorite color was green. She liked the campus a little, but disagreed that everyone should own a pet. Again, make sure that you press tab at the end of every line so that the data gets entered into the table. To save your changes, all you do is click Close. And then when you're done with that, you click Close again, and you now have a data table entered by hand ready for you to use. Let's generate some simple statistics like the mean, minimum, maximum, and standard deviation from some of our survey fields. You do this with Report Tables. Make sure that the table that you're working with is the one that you want. To get basic statistics, choose Row Stats, and then click Add. let's select age, height, and shoes. By default, SOFA just shows you the mean or average for those columns. To add more information, we need to select all the variables. To select all the variables, hold down Shift and click the first variable name. Notice that they're all highlighted now. Now click Config to the other statistics you'd like to see. In this case, we want the standard deviation, the minimum, and the maximum, as well as the mean. Click OK. The example data shows you what your report will look like when it grows up. To see the actual numbers, click Show Results. And you will see the mean, standard deviation, minimum, and maximum for the selected variables.
So, we basically have everything we need, right?
Well, not quite yet. Ever heard of Socrative? Well, Socrative is a student response system. And it's something very handy for in-class discussion. You can use it to engage your students through electronic devices while in class. Again, while in class. You can also use it for games and for making online tests and for computing scores. It basically has a lot of cool features all in one site. So it'll probably be good to demonstrate to you guys how to use it.
Hi everyone, I'm going to do a very basic demonstration of Socrative. If you haven't heard about it already, it's a wonderful tool for student assessment, quizzes, gathering student information, data, etc., all sorts of things. The first thing to note is there's two versions of the app. There's the teacher's version and there's a student version. It's available free both on Android and the iPhone. You can also access Socrative via the website. The first thing is we have a room number, and that's all the students need to join the room. No login is needed, so it's quite quick and easy to set up. Students can access this either again via their apps on their phones or by opening up a web browser. I immediately get to see how many students have joined the room, and then I have a number of options to choose from. We can either have single question activities, so it's multiple choice, true or false votes, or short answers, or I can have start a quiz which I've set up or created before a lesson. If I create a quiz, it's quite easy to share that quiz with other teachers in the department or indeed across the world. So the kind of things that I might do, here I pose a question about the difference between range and codomain, and students enter their answers. As more students enter their answers, we get to see that, so it's live, and indeed more answers. I then have the option of voting, so when I press vote, students can vote on an answer which they think best describes the difference, and that leads to some very interesting discussions, and is a great way to identify any misconceptions students might have. And again, I think the great thing to emphasize here is that it's all live, so as students are interacting and this is projected on the screen, they can see all the data as it's being generated live. So as they vote, as they put in their answers, all of that is coming up on screen. Also there's voting. It's a true and false question, and they tend to enjoy doing that as well. Again, it leads to a lot of discussion. And one of the great things about this is I get to see everybody's response. They get to see everybody's response, and it gives us the opportunity to discuss, question, probe further into a topic, both at the beginning of a lesson as well as during or towards the end. there's a lot here to explore. I'll leave it at that for the moment. I hope that's been useful. Bye for now.
Congratulations! You finished task number 1.
See you on our report day.
Don't forget to review.
Bye.